All right, ready?
Sure.
All right, one.
Oh, what's the Elvis chord?
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Welcome to Vegas.
Welcome to Vegas, baby.
All right, that was nice. So we got Alex from PRS Guitars here. We're going to take a deep dive on the Narrowfield pickups.
That's right.
And I was really struck by, first of all, how you were comping on the front pickup that had that nice, clear, classic sound, and then the amount of spank when you bring it back to the rear pickup.
Oh, yeah.
What are we looking at there? What's the overall flavor?
Yeah, so this is the NF53. This model launched about summer of 2023. It's the Narrowfield pickups in both positions, the treble and bass. Narrowfields, for me, I think it's kind of like a really polished, T-style sort of spanky thing.
Mm-hmm.
My playing personally kind of lends itself to that. So like, I'm really comfortable with this kind of pickup. For me, it's all about, I can dig in and get the dynamics, and it's not going to hum at you.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking it was like instant Brett Mason when you went to that bridge pickup. It just had that spank.
Well, I wish it was instant Brent Mason.
Yeah.
It's instant me, but yeah, I could use about 100 times more talent, and then it'd be instant Brent
Let's
Mason.
be honest.
So we were talking before this, so the Narrowfield goes back a little bit, right? As far as
Yeah.
its evolution.
It does, yeah. So we've been doing versions of this pickup for a while. As it stands in this guitar, and actually kind of in that guitar, this is kind of the genesis of the current version of the Narrowfield pickups. We've had them on guitars going back, I think, to the 90s. I don't know if you can quote me on that. I'm on a video, so I guess I am quoting myself. But it's something like we do currently in the studio and in the special semi-hollow in the middle and bass position, depending on the model. They're going to look physically different. If you kind of zoom in on these, you'll notice there's little metal pieces in between each magnet. It's kind of like if you put a brass or a plate on a bottom of a Tele bridge pickup. It gives it a little more spank, a little more oomph. That's the idea. It gives just a little more power, a little more pop. Yeah, and a little more kind of sizzle on the top end too.
Got it.
Yeah.
How about the bridge as far as just the concept behind that? Obviously, we're kind of hearkening to a T style.
Sure. Yeah. So it's a hardtail bridge, brass saddles, and your strings are anchored right on top of the body. It's all for sustain and tonality, and that's kind of Paul's thing, right? Let's get the best quality materials and the best tone transfer, and that's what we're looking at here. We tried a few different materials, and this is kind of where we landed in terms of like this sounded the best. So there you go.
You want to walk us just a quick demo on the 3 different switches, pickup modes?
Sure. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward in terms of overall control layout. This is probably the simplest guitar that we have in our lineup, I think. It's only a 3-position switch: master volume, master tone. Down, you're looking at your treble pickup. Middles both.
I feel like you could cover almost some like semi-acoustic kind of sounds with that middle.
Kind of, yeah. It's very open, very bubbly.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really balanced too.
Yeah, dig it.
And then the bass pickup.
Nice and warm. Beautiful.
Yeah, very warm, still very full.
It's got that chime to it too, though. Sometimes
exactly.
people think warm and it could be muddy to somebody else. There's no mud in there at all.
Yeah, exactly.
For a bass pickup, especially.
Yeah, warm. You're right. Warm can mean dark sometimes.
Right.
And it doesn't in this case.
Not
you
at
could do jazz on this for sure. Well, either one of these really.
Well,
But
I hate to break it to you, you just were.
kind of.
How did that feel?
Oh no, it didn't feel good.
No, to me, it's like the perfect in between. if you're a single coil guy or if you're a humbucker guy, it's like it just sits right there in the mix in a way that it's neither of those things, yet it incorporates elements of both. That's the best way I could think of putting it.
I strongly agree.
I'm going to take the rest of the day off.
There you go.
That's swamp ash, right?
It is, yeah. And this one is our black dog hair finish over swamp ash body. Yep.
Yeah, that's my.
But it's so light. I mean, typically, I know a lot of ash guitars can be somewhat heavy, especially swamp ash. I don't know, where do you find the wood that looks that great and doesn't weigh like a boat anchor?
Well, what you're looking at here is actually a white grain fill over the black. I mean, that you can pull that out of any, not any ash, but any good piece of ash. All you're seeing, that's just the grain popping out.
Crazy.
Yeah. Our guys do a really good job.
You
with
ended up
that.
telling me this story one time of how the swamp ash is actually.
Yeah. So when you have, I don't know how much of this you want to get on camera. You might have to confirm with our wood team how much of it is accurate.
You have a wood team?
most of this building really
Is the wood team?
I think so. I don't know. The wood team.
That's a fantastic name.
I might get in trouble for saying that one.
That sounds like a hard job.
Yeah.
Come on, Alex.
Where were we?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about North American hardwoods. No, where were we actually?
Swamp ash.
Swamp ash, yes. Okay. So, I mean, what is swamp? Swamp ash literally is a log of ash that's sitting in a swamp. It's sitting in water somewhere, right? That means typically when you have a tree, some of it's submerged, some of it's not. The part that's in water is going to have a very different grain to it than the part that spent its whole life outside of water. So depending on where you pull the tree from, or what section you pull from that part of the tree, you're going to get a really different weight and a really different density and a different kind of grain to it. And so there are companies in the past who have sourced without regard for weight, and there are companies like us who do the opposite. And it's not just weight, it's also tone, but that's how you end up with these guitars being, 7-ish pounds.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, just
10.
other swamp ash guitars I've picked up had great features, but they were heavy.
Yeah.
And after a while, at my age, a heavy guitar doesn't necessarily equate to a good time.
Oh yeah, it'll wear on your shoulder.
Right. And I love that classic dog hair finish.
Yeah, and the white one is great.
It seems like the opposite of what a PRS would normally be, where you would do the dark grain fill and to get to the grain to pop. I guess they start with a lighter one on that and then reverse the process.
Yeah, I would imagine Jim or maybe one of the finish guys could probably talk a lot more intelligently about the actual process involved with that.
Okay. And let's talk about the neck.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is our 53 profile. The guitars that were made in 1953 were by and large larger and more substantial in your palm, right? Think of all the major brands that were coming out in 1953. They all had a very similar kind of shape. This is very much referencing that. Same thing with, the model name also is kind of referencing that historical point. But it's a maple neck, and it's a bolt-on guitar for us, so we use the scarf joint. You can see it pretty clearly on the side. It's a maple cap over a scarf joint on the maple neck. So you have effectively three pieces of maple all chunked together.
And can you just walk, the scarf joint itself, the stability of it, can you just kind of speak to it?
Yeah.
What it actually is.
Yeah, so it allows you to use a piece of wood that's physically smaller rather than having to take a big blank and carve it down. So effectively what you do is you cross, I don't know if it's crosscut. I'm not a woodworker.
Understood.
But you cut the wood, you flip it around, and that's how you get the angle.
And there's something to that structurally too. When you're having two opposite wood grains fighting each other, the tendency is for it not to warp as much, or it's structurally more sound than it would be if it was one piece of wood, oddly enough.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which seems to fly in the face of logic. So it's not only attractive, it's functionally sound.
Well, yeah, and it also allows us to get away with using smaller pieces of wood, which means we can, we're not wasting as much.
Got it.
And so the similarities that we have between these two models are somewhat within the realm of the pickups, right? So with the Narrowfields.
Yeah, so this is the NF53. This is a Maryland-made guitar, and Maryland-made Narrowfield pickups. The one you're holding is the NF3, which is an SE model that launched earlier this year. So those are the imported Narrowfield pickups. They're made in Indonesia, to the same spec, but they're made overseas. Functionally, these guitars are going to be pretty different from each other. They're the same scale length, but that's a tremolo guitar on a molded trem. This is a brass saddle and a hardtail. This is swamp ash. That's poplar. They're both maple necks, but this is a maple board. That's a rosewood board.
Even acoustically, I can hear they ring out differently. They're both loud acoustically, but you can tell it's a different animal even before you plug it in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even though sonically, this is kind of the same recipe as those pickups made overseas, but I was shocked about how great they sound. I mean,
oh yeah.
Typically back in the day, if you bought a guitar in that price range, you would think, well, I'll swap this out, swap that out. I can't think of a thing I would change on that. I would buy that and just be psyched with it right out of the box.
Yeah, this is not, at least for me, this is not the kind of guitar that you buy with the intention of modding it immediately. No. You just don't need to. And the pickups, I think they sound great. I don't know that there's anything that I would change on that for me, but I guess
we're talking.
But knowing Paul, he'll probably think, oh, we can do it better next year. There'll be something else.
We have the 5-way because obviously we're dealing with 3. So we have neck, if I'm not mistaken, neck and middle.
Yep.
Middle.
Yep. Middle bridge.
And then bridge by itself.
Yep.
So
exactly.
So we can go. Middle. That sounds nice.
Yeah, they all sound nice.
I think finding a 3-pickup guitar with a usable middle pickup, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely, it's got Swiss Army type of stuff written all over it. It sounds great.
Well, and a lot of S-style guitars too, it's tough to dial in the bridge pickup without it being a little strident. So like, I feel like, I don't know if the tone knob, is it reactive with all the pickups? It's a master tone?
It's a master tone, yeah.
So you could dial off a little of that, but I mean, just with everything full up on the bridge, it sounded like that's what you want out of a guitar like that.
Yep. No wiggle stick either. We didn't have the...
Oh, we don't have the trem, you're right.
We don't have our trem with us.
We could, I mean, you can kind of pull underneath and grab it if you want.
There was one.
Do you want me to grab a bar?
No, we're good.
Grab it.
I'm not gonna... You don't want to do that, it'll probably knock it right out of tune.
No, that's totally fine.
It's gonna go full Hendrix on it.
Nah.
Let's
full Hendrix?
Let's move on to some
Hendrix.
Silver Sky terrain if you want.
Sure. No?
This is why he's playing, because I'm not a John Mayer guy. So.
We are back. We're doing a little Silver Sky action now here. I have the Silver Sky SE.
I have the USA.
Mine is in rosewood.
Ah, mine is in maple.
Yes. Let's just give a little go around on this. Why don't you
sure,
kick it off?
You know what's funny? I was struck just by literally how different a seemingly similar guitar is.
Keep in mind we're in the same amp too.
Yeah.
Right. No, and it's amazing to me. They're both sounded like a really great S-style guitar, which obviously the Silver Sky is. But it's a bit of a better mousetrap, which is what we always kind of like in what Paul would build. But I'm even noticing the differences in the guitars themselves, namely the bridge. And I did read in the spec sheet that the radius is off by like 1 degree. Yeah. Was that just for ha-has, or was there a reason behind it?
No, it comes down to production tolerances.
Okay.
So the USA made Silver Sky is a 7 1/4 radius, which is, very much referencing a vintage spec. Exactly. It's a vintage spec. To do that in a way where your strings don't, die out, when you can get full step bends out of them, your frets have to be exact. Your radius has to be exact. Nothing can move. The tolerances are very, very tight. And that's how you end up with a lot of guitars out in the world where you do end up with fretting out and getting kind of dead notes here and there. All that to say, in Indonesia, our radius is 8.5 because the tolerance is a little bit different on that. We have a little more room to play. It's not quite as exacting, but you still have a very vintage feel to it. That's the intention.
I mean, let's admittedly call it out here. That's some of the compromises you make when you're dealing with an offshore spec on something. It doesn't make it any less fun to play. It's just that there are certain things you have to think about when it goes into that. But the trem is also different.
The trem is different. It's a different material that we use for the block. It's also it's a different material we use for the saddles. Ooh, I actually don't think so. I think the saddles are the same.
But I'm
the
thinking
block
too,
is
just
different.
you've got the 6-screw bridge here with a 2-point.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just slight differences, slight tweaks, similar guitar, but
yeah, I mean, it's the difference between a USA version and an imported version. We do as much as we can get away with on the import without having to raise the price, right? We want this to be a more economical version for people. It's more of it's a friendlier price point for sure.
For sure, but I think the public has spoken. I mean, when you pick up one of those, you go, "It's really a great guitar. It's unbelievable." Yeah,
yeah. It gives the USA one a run for its money for sure.
It does, but even just sitting here, personally, I thought that had it just had a sweeter, airier sound to it. This you could take to a gig right now and rock out, no problem. But in terms of justifying the differences, I mean, there is a little bit more sophistication and sweetness to that guitar, admittedly.
There is, and the pickups are not exactly the same. Again, these are made here in Maryland. Those are made in Indonesia.
Right.
They are supposed to be the same spec, but they are a little different. I mean, you do get a little more warmth out of these. Those are a little bit brighter, and so they're never going to be exactly the same.
Body woods?
Poplar, ash.
Actually, I didn't realize this actually comes with the back plate.
Yeah, that one does.
You want to hold that?
I think it is all there. Let me double check. I think you're right.
And again, not heavy.
No.
And the neck, you're retaining that vintage feel. Smaller fret wire, bigger profile than you would maybe find like on a wide thin or something like that. But really comfortable, and feels very welcoming to play a guitar like this, which for a lot of players, when you have a 7 1/4 radius, you're afraid that, it's great for comping, but when I do a double step bend, is it going to choke out?
I've had that happen so many times on
it is older.
It is, but I mean, you're hearing.
Yeah.
You're not choking at it. If I get my buddy Guy on, I could still be in tune. And so, it is, again, a better mousetrap. I think when this initially came out, there was this kind of, everyone had their knives out about,
oh man,
PRS is going to do this.
I was working retail when these came out. There were definitely knives out, but
for sure. But everyone who picked one up,
yep, that's it. All you do as soon as people play one,
converted.
Exactly. Yep,
quickly converted. What about the tuners, by the way? I mean, obviously they look the same. Are they? What are our differences on machine heads, if any?
God, they really look alike.
They look identical. That's why
I actually don't think they are different. I think these are the same. I don't know.
Well,
we're asking all the hard-hitting questions here today.
These are the locking ones. These are non-locking vintage style.
I mean,
but I don't know if we're using
an old vintage style tuner myself. If you string it right.
Well, they're not Clousons. They're ours. It's just a Clouson. It's like a Clouson closed back design.
Right.
But then it has the lightweight buttons on it. I don't know if we're using the same machine heads though. I don't think so.
Okay. When did the Silver Sky actually land? Like, what's its formal anniversary?
When it started? 2016?
Has it been that long?
2016? Okay.
I think it was 2016.
And it has seen, like, from what I understand, if like you go on Google, you'll find that there's been a lot of revisions that even happened.
That's a PRS thing, man.
Over time.
If we can get away with doing it, things will change either because like Paul wants it to change or maybe John wants something to change.
Sure.
It's much better for us and seemingly for everybody else if we just do that change and don't say anything.
Yeah, but I think that's really key, again, with the PRS as a whole, is that chasing of perfection and constantly tweaking, because announced or unannounced, otherwise it's not really, to me, it doesn't matter. It's constantly tweaking and working on what they're envisioning as you would say, a better mousetrap.
I can't get away from that analogy because that's really what it seems like. I mean, when you talk about some of other legacy brands and how they're kind of stuck between what are they doing new and then they don't make them like they used to. PRS is kind of agile. They can move within that world. It is a legacy brand. I mean, you're talking 40 years.
Yeah.
But you're not beholden to just cranking out the same old thing. Paul could continue to refine it. It still retains the essence of what made it a success in the first place. But to have that restless creativity woven into it, it's got to be really enjoyable to work for for a brand like that.
It is. Yeah. It's incredibly satisfying, especially when we come out with a product where there's a change or there's some new process or whatever it is. And you realize, oh, okay, well, all the intentionality behind this is just to make it better. Mm-hmm. It's not to cut a corner or to save money or anything other than making a better product.
Right.
That's always the intention.
Absolutely. And then as we look kind of from the Silver Sky, we can grab the Fiore. Actually, remember, we can throw this back up.
We only have one Fiore out here.
No, why don't you grab that, and I'll put this back in.
Oh, man.
I can just put that in my car.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. All right, so we're moving over to Fiore land.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we were just talking a few seconds ago. I mean, I think this is like, we're calling it a sleeper. I mean, I know it's a popular guitar, but it really shouldn't go overlooked compared to even the Silver Sky or the NF series.
No, I completely agree. And I would agree with you. It's sleeper in terms of maybe people don't talk about it as much, doesn't get as much press as some of the other models. But this is one of my favorite guitars we do. It's
same.
It's extremely, yeah, you have one, right?
In that color.
Yeah.
Larkspur, I believe.
Yep. It's extremely flexible. It's effectively a Swiss Army knife guitar. Mm-hmm. It's a tool. It's not a flashy, show-offy kind of guitar. This is, hey, let's do a job. Let's do it the best possible way that you can.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, everything Mark's designed with the switching, the electronics, the pickups, even the bar. I don't know if you've seen the bar. It has like a little extra weight at the end of it. That's
absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
What's great about this with Mark and your collaboration with him is this is where a signature model, you start to like really let the artist have their voice in the matter. It's not just say, hey, I have this guitar. Let's change the color and call it a signature model. Like
right.
Yeah. Well, and the devil's in the details too. When you hear that how sonically flexible it is, you could compare it to another PRS, which typically they're very sonically flexible guitars. But it's a different palette.
Mm-hmm.
Just even on the clean stuff that you were playing before. I mean, why don't you walk us through some of the sounds and you can really hear the difference.
Yeah. And I'll kind of switch through. There's a push-pull on both of these tone knobs. And then it's a 5-way switch, master volume. So I'll just kind of walk through the tones. We'll just kind of start with switches down. We'll just do the 5-way. There's your treble. There's the treble and middle. There's just middle. Middle and bass. Super spanky. And then there's just the bass pickup. And now here's where things get really fun is you get some series parallel options and you start to pull up the tone knob. That's just the bridge.
Night and day difference.
Yeah, sounds great. And then you can mix that in with some of the other. Super spanky. And then the middle turns on the neck pickup. I mean, that's a tremendous range of tones.
It's stunning, and those singles definitely have a different vibe to the Narrowfields or the Silver Sky pickups too.
Absolutely.
Even though they're single coil pickups, it's just a different voice. Mm-hmm. And they're just like you said, it's not flashy. No pick guard, not a lot of bells and whistles, flamey tops, stuff like that. But it's still a stunning guitar to look at.
Mm-hmm. And to come full circle, we're at Swamp Ash again. So
that's right.
It makes another appearance with the Fiore.
And I like that you could see it at certain angles through the solid finish. You could still see that grain there. I think that's a nice nod.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to come through on the camera, but you can see
it won't, but we can see it. We can
zoom in on
it from here.
And it smells great. Right? It's like
smells
pancakes.
Incredible.
It's so nice.
It's like a nice candle.
That sure is.
Was there any with the Swamp Ash that's coming up with the NFs, now coming with the Fiores, and I'm a little hazy on some of the release dates and if they were in a relatively close time from one another, but is that like a little bit of a thing that Paul kind of got into where he's like, he was just onto the Swamp Ash vibe?
That's a good question. That's a Paul question.
I don't save that one.
I would save that one because I don't know. The Fiore and the Silver Sky were launched pretty close to each other, but the NF just came out last year. So, and there's a good half decade between those.
Sure.
At least.
And then the wood choices, we could get into the tone wood debate as well if you'd like, but it's a deep pool and it's very turbulent. So,
do we want to wade into those waters? I don't know.
We can. Just be ready. That's opening a can of worms right there. But sonically, you're still going into the classic tone recipe of whether it be Swamp Ash or Alder or something to that degree. It still does impart some sort of sonic stamp to how the guitar is going to sound, even amplified.
Right.
I still maintain that view, and you can flame me if you want in the comments. But the pickups obviously make a big difference too. And those are totally different than it seems like than any of the pickups in any of the other guitars.
They are, yeah. They're very open. They're very responsive and dynamic. And I think that comes down to Mark and how he plays and the kind of voicing that he wanted for his sound.
Mm-hmm.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, the wood that the guitar is made out of is going to have a fundamental thing that it imparts, whether that comes through the amp. People debate about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does. I mean, it's, everything that's attached to the guitar is going to affect the way the string vibrates. And that's going to be, how much of an effect it has amplified. It depends on so many other factors.
For sure. But I mean, getting back to the electronics, when we talk about series and parallel, and that could be a little murky for some people, but
sure.
The way I liken it is if you're taking that bridge pickup and you're playing it in series mode, which is what a typical humbucker would be, and then you move it to parallel, it's almost like you're getting the best of a single coil, even though it's still fully humbucking.
Yeah, right.
Would you liken it to that? I mean,
I would. Let's throw a little gain on this.
Okay.
And I'm just for demonstration purposes for the bridge, really. So that's a fair amount of gain.
Sure.
And there's no hum on there. Now, we're going series parallel. I think I threw myself out of tune.
But that's also a feature of series parallel. It will knock your guitar out of tune.
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that. But yeah, it's one of the dangers.
It's like a natural chorusing effect.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
Much of my playing is a natural chorus.
But again, no hum.
Right. It's a lot more aggressive. Just a different vibe.
Yeah, it seems to add a little more snarl to it.
Yes.
But again, when you were in the parallel mode, I mean, it sounded like a great S-style bridge pickup, and you don't have to go, man, I wish I had a humbucker here. I wish I had a single coil. Well, I mean, you really are getting the most out of those electronics in a not flashy way with a ton of toggles and other switches. Yep. I mean, it's pretty easy to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, once you sit with it for a second, it's not as daunting. Looking at the schematics, it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit. Initially. A little bit, yeah. I mean, it throws me off, and I work for PRS, so. And
as far as the neck goes on that, is its own carve as well? I would assume it's different than the Silver Sky. What would you liken that to?
It has a very soft contour to it.
More like a modern C, I guess?
It kind of leans. Style? Yeah, I don't know that I would say this is necessarily a vintage style. I think this is a pretty modern guitar. It's not flat. It still has a curvature that really sits kind of into the palm, but not in an obtrusive way. It's kind of take the contour of a Silver Sky, a little more of a V to it, and shrink it down, and that's kind of what this is.
But radius-wise on this, it's a 10?
This should be a 10. Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, it's a 10-inch radius.
It does still have some heft to it, the neck. I mean, it's not what I would equate to a modern, like I say, a wide thin or a shredder neck necessarily.
Sure.
But I don't have big hands, but this just feels right. I think it's the shoulders on it, just the way it's cut. Like you were saying, there's a little bit of a V to it. If you're afraid of playing a guitar, which you might call a big neck, and you pick this up, you'd be like, man, I don't know. It really feels great.
It's not.
See it there.
Yeah,
but it's so clean. I mean, and again, I think over the years, someone might nitpick and go, oh, if you're using a scarf joint, it's a cut, like a cheap cut, cut through. But in reality, there's something structurally
sound
gooder about it.
Gooder. It is more gooder.
Yeah.
That's a big part of our.
So if there was any takeaway from today, it's more gooder.
Yeah. And this is a neck. It should have a scarf, if you think about it. Warms up the sound.
There you go.
Cringe.
We
Guess who doesn't care?
There's a scarf right there.
I saw that. I was going to pick it up and put it on, and I figured I'd have to buy it. So, really nice. I'll take it.
Yeah, we just call it a Fiore neck carve, and these are just called the Fiore pickups. I was hoping we had a more interesting name for the neck, but no, it's just Fiore.
But what I like about that is it's still, these are all, you could look at these and go, okay, those are PRS guitars, but there's all these slight yet significant differences in them. So if you were a first timer, if you're used to a specific brand, you're a dyed-in-the-wool brand guy from something else, and you said, okay, I'm going to come in and try this, you really have to do your homework. And that's a good thing, because when you get to spend a lot of time and money on a guitar, all those things should be different, and they are. But you don't know it until you pick them up.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a much better conclusion. I like that.
Well, we're lucky to get to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because in this era of what we do, and when we're asking someone to take a risk and buy a guitar from us on our website, I mean, you get 45 days to try it, but knowing that you can pick all these up and really hear and feel the differences in them is kind of, I think it's fun. I think that's where the fun comes in, because then you want one of each.
Well, sure, yeah, and that's one of the disadvantages people have when they're not trying it out in person is you can't pick it up and see how it fits in your hand, right?
Sure.
And all of these are pretty different from each other. I mean, the 53 neck profile is completely different than the Fiore, which is pretty different than the Silver Sky, which is going to be, again, completely different than the NF3. It just depends on what you like and, you know, what works for you.
And that's what brings great customer service into the game. You know, if someone's not sure and they say, well, we have all these guitars, they're all great and you could try them. But to know the differences, you know, to try and explain the difference to somebody, really, it's more a matter of personal taste. They just got to try them.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can get a bad sound out of any of them.
No,
and that's really, that's the key. Well, I could, but you know, they all sound great. I mean, I'm just sitting here listening to them and you guys are playing through similar rigs, no bells and whistles.
Yep.
It's like, I want that.
Yeah, we're not, I mean, we're just going straight into the amp. There's nothing fancy.
Yep. No compression, no pedals, no nothing.
Yep.
And it sounds like that's what a good guitar into a good amp should sound like.
Yep.
Even when Russ did it.
Exactly.
Even when you did it still sounded okay. No, come on.
Wrap. Alex, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate
you. It was a pleasure.
With us.
Thanks, guys.